Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I'm Dalillah, binti Saiful Badrillah. So I'm going to continue about the next current issue of Islamic investment in Malaysia. So the next current issue is imitation of conventional finance. Based on Oxford Dictionary, imitation is the act of using someone or something as a model. Laki Usmani argues, Islamic banking nowadays has totally abandoned its basic role. First, by ignoring method of risk sharing between the financer and the user of finance. This is according to the Musyarakah contract. As we all know, Musyarakah contract, both of the parties have to contribute on the capital and they have to share the profit and the risk itself. Other than that, in the favor of fixed markup between Murabahah and Ijarah. According to Muhammad Taqi Osmani, chairman of Sharia Council, 85% of all Gulf Cooperation Council (JCC)-based sukuk were not structured in Sharia compliance manners. He also argues that now this practice of sukuk that want to adapt with the technology advance did not compliance with the Sharia in three areas. So the first area is set a higher amount of the price of interest to the manager with the reason as an incentive for better management. This issued as a riba or interest because, as we all know, manager's payment cannot be fixed, because if it is fixed, it means like it is like interest. It must to be based on profitability of the commercial or industrial enterprise. So the second issue is the present sukuk holders is promised with a fixed amount of income, and if the amount returned is lower than the promised amount, the manager will apportion the deficit amount as a loan to the sukuk holders. This practice, when the manager makes a loan with sukuk holders at time of distribution assets when the actual return is lower than the promised income, is called as sale with a credit. Sale with a credit means when the seller allowed the buyer to take the product first and then pay later. It's actually risky for the seller. Why I'm saying this? Because imagine if the buyer didn't pay on time, the seller will actually facing with a lot of debt. So the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had said that had prohibited sales that related to credit, saying that this practice is not compliance with Sharia. Third issue is sukuk should be redeemed at their market, not their face value, as what has been practiced right now. So this issue is in regard to the return of the investor's capital should not be granted, should not be fixed, but must follow the market value at the time. If the market value is down or decreased, then they will get a less profit. So there is always risk, of course, when it comes to applying in Sharia investment. So the legal law under sukuk is that the investors would not grant that the capital will be returned, but they have right to claim the actual value of sukuk assets. As we can see, there are many issues that are related to sukuk nowadays. The Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institution, AAOIFI, had issued an additional guideline for sukuk holders in 2018 to standardize the laws in sukuk. It's like it is according to Sharia and not conventional finance. So the guideline are the sukuk must own all the rights and liability of the asset, either it is tangible, usufruct, or services, and the asset must be transferred from the issue to the sukuk holder's book. As we all know, sukuk means the investors has the right to claim the ownership of the asset. So other than that, to make the sukuk product is tradable. It is allowed for people to trade the product to sell it to other people. Okay, so why imitation of conventional finance become an issue in Islamic finance itself? Because if the Islamic investment is following the conventional investment, what's the special of Islamic investment? Because as we all know, the main objective for Sharia compliance investment is to provide a platform for investors to invest their money according to Sharia's laws, to generate halal income, at the same time prevent from any haram activities. So that's why the Islamic investment should follow the Islamic laws that has been stated in Al-Quran and Sunnah. We'll be proceed with the fatwa on Islamic investment. So the first fatwa is fatwa on ASB Amanah Saham Bumi Putra and ASN Amanah Saham National Schemes by the National Council Fatwa Committee on the Matters Islamic Religious Affairs Malaysia, MKI. So the MKI Fatwa community had do their meeting to discuss on the investment of the issue in the number of investment portfolio like ASN and ASB and the related scheme. So as to avoid a greater harm, the Muzakara had decided to safeguard the interest can be concerned about the Muslim, and the law of invest in ASN and ASB scheme is required because PNB, Pemodalan Nasional Berhad, which is an ASB fund manager, does not invest in any gambling or any related sector to it. 70% of PNB investment is Sharia compliance, while the other 30% is not Sharia compliance. The amount of investment in halal sector is more than haram sector based on the statement given by the chairman of the National Fatwa Committee on Islamic Religious Affairs in 2014. Conclusion, we can conclude that Islamic investment is really important for the Muslim consumer. This is because when Muslim investors want to invest or channel their money, they will know what are the right purpose and ways in order to invest their money in a halal ways. In other words, they can be more aware about the best investment. And we like to recommend to an individual person that would like to be an investor to invest their money by opening a central depository system, also known as CDS account at Bursa Malaysia website. And this account basically gives benefits for them because they can analyze which portfolio that's suitable for them to invest. That's all for us. So thank you for listening.